What if I told you that your high-speed internet plan might be the reason your internet feels slow? You're paying for 500 megabits per second, maybe even a gig. The ads promised blazing fast downloads, seamless 4K streaming, zero-lag gaming, and yet your Netflix buffers at 8 p.m., your Zoom call freezes during an important meeting, and your PlayStation starts lagging the second everyone else in the house gets online. If you live in the United States, this isn't just your problem. It's happening in apartments in New York, suburbs in Texas, condos in Florida, and small towns in the Midwest. Today on Tech Vibes, we're breaking down why your internet feels slow even with a high-speed plan, what's really going on behind the scenes, and what you can actually do about it. Because the truth is, it's not always your provider, but it's also not always your fault. Let's get into it. Right now, fast internet isn't a luxury in America. It's infrastructure. Millions of Americans work remotely at least part of the week. Students rely on online platforms for homework and lectures. Businesses run on cloud software, telehealth appointments, streaming services, smart home devices, security cameras. Everything depends on a stable connection. And yet, complaints about slow internet are everywhere. People upgrade from 200 Mbps to 1 gig and barely notice a difference. Others move into a new home, sign up for the top-tier package, and still deal with lag and buffering. Why? This matters because Americans are spending billions of dollars every year on high-speed broadband. If you're overpaying for speed you're not actually using, or if you're not getting the performance you were promised, that affects your wallet, your productivity, and even your stress levels. And here's the part that makes it urgent. Internet usage in U.S. households keeps increasing. More devices, more streaming, more remote work, more gaming. So if you don't understand what's slowing you down now, it's only going to get worse. So let's start with the basics. When your provider sells you a 500 Mbps or 1 gig plan, that number refers to the maximum download speed under ideal conditions. Think of it like the speed limit on a highway. Just because the sign says 70 miles per hour doesn't mean you'll always be driving 70. Traffic, road conditions, and bottlenecks all affect your actual speed. Your home internet works in a similar way. There's the speed coming into your house from your internet service provider. Then there's your modem, your router, your Wi-Fi signal, your devices, and the servers you're connecting to. Each one of these is a potential bottleneck. Let's say you're paying for 1 gig internet. That means, in theory, you can download up to 1,000 megabits per second. But if your router can only handle 300 Mbps over Wi-Fi, you'll never see those gigabit speeds on your laptop. If your device has an older Wi-Fi chip, that's another limit. If 10 devices are connected at once, phones, tablets, smart TVs, security cameras, they're all sharing that bandwidth. And here's something most people don't realize. Most everyday tasks don't even need that much speed. Streaming 4K video usually requires around 25 Mbps. A Zoom call might use 3 to 5 Mbps. Online gaming often uses less bandwidth than you think. It's more sensitive to latency than raw speed. So if your internet feels slow, it's often not because you don't have enough megabits. It's because something else is going wrong. Now let's go deeper. One of the biggest culprits in American homes is Wi-Fi itself. Wi-Fi is convenient, but it's not magic. It's radio waves. And radio waves get blocked. If you live in a typical U.S. suburban home with multiple rooms, thick drywall, maybe brick or concrete in some areas, your signal weakens as it travels. If your router is in the corner of the house, your bedroom or home office on the other side might be getting a fraction of the speed. In apartment buildings, it gets even worse. You're not just competing with walls, you're competing with dozens of other Wi-Fi networks. Imagine living in a high-rise in Chicago or Los Angeles. Every unit has a router blasting signals. They overlap, interfere, and congest the same channels. But here's where it gets serious. Many Americans are still using the router their ISP gave them years ago. Those rental routers are often basic, outdated models. They may not support the latest Wi-Fi standards. They may struggle to handle 20 connected devices. And in 2026, that's not unusual. Between smart speakers, thermostats, TVs, gaming consoles, laptops, and phones, the average U.S. household can easily have 15 to 30 connected devices. So even if your plan is fast, your hardware might be the weak link. And this is the part nobody talks about enough: peak hour congestion. Internet providers advertise up to speeds. That's the maximum under ideal conditions. But in many neighborhoods, especially with cable internet, you're sharing bandwidth with your neighbors. Around 7 p.m., when everyone is streaming Netflix, watching YouTube, gaming online, and scrolling social media, demand spikes. If the local network infrastructure isn't upgraded to handle that load, speeds can drop. It's like rush hour traffic on the freeway. The road didn't change, the number of cars did. Fiber internet tends to handle this better than older cable systems, but availability varies across the US. In some cities, you have multiple fiber options. In rural areas, you might only have one provider, and it might not even be true high-speed fiber. And this changes everything for remote workers. Imagine you're in a video meeting for work. Your speed test says 400 Mbps, so you assume you're fine. But your upload speed, which is critical for video calls, might only be 10 or 20 Mbps on certain plans. If multiple people in the house are uploading at the same time, that limited upload bandwidth becomes a bottleneck. Download speed gets all the marketing attention. Upload speed is the quiet problem. Now let's talk about something called latency. This is where gamers and tech enthusiasts really pay attention. Latency is the time it takes for data to travel from your device to a server and back. It's measured in milliseconds. You can have 1 gig internet and still experience lag if your latency is high. That's because speed and responsiveness are not the same thing. For example, if you're gaming online and your ping jumps from 20 milliseconds to 120 milliseconds, you'll feel it immediately. If you're on a Zoom call and latency spikes, voices will overlap or freeze. Latency can be affected by network congestion, distance to servers, routing issues, and even the type of connection you're using. Satellite internet, for example, typically has higher latency due to the physical distance signals must travel. And then there's your own home network behavior. Think about automatic updates, Windows updates, game downloads, cloud backups, smart devices syncing in the background. If your Xbox starts downloading a 100 gigabyte update while you're trying to stream a show, it can dominate your bandwidth. Many routers allow you to prioritize certain devices or types of traffic, but most people never change the default settings. Let's shift to businesses and the broader US economy for a moment. Slow internet isn't just annoying, it's expensive. Small businesses rely on cloud software, online transactions, and digital marketing. If their connection drops or slows during peak hours, productivity drops. In a remote-first world, stable connectivity is tied directly to economic output. There's also a digital divide issue. Urban areas often have more competition and better infrastructure. Rural communities may rely on older networks. Even though federal programs are investing billions into broadband expansion, deployment takes time. So while one household in Silicon Valley might have symmetrical 2 gig fiber, another family in a rural county could be struggling with inconsistent speeds on a much more expensive plan. Now let's talk about the psychology of speed. Many Americans upgrade their plan thinking it will solve everything. But if your issue is Wi-Fi interference, upgrading from 300 Mbps to 1 gig won't fix it. If your router is outdated, more bandwidth won't magically improve signal strength. If your home has dead zones, higher speed won't reach them. This leads to frustration. People blame the provider. Providers blame the equipment. Equipment manufacturers blame interference. And the consumer is stuck in the middle. So what are the benefits of high-speed plans? When properly set up, they absolutely deliver. Large file downloads finish quickly. Multiple 4K streams run smoothly. Households with heavy usage can operate without congestion. Fiber connections often offer low latency and symmetrical upload speeds, which are excellent for remote work and content creation. High-speed infrastructure also supports innovation. Smart homes, AI-powered devices, AR and VR applications, and cloud gaming all depend on robust connectivity. But there are downsides and controversies. Some consumers feel misled by up-to marketing. Others question whether they're overpaying for speeds they don't use. There are debates around net neutrality, infrastructure investment, and competition in local markets. In many parts of the US, you may only have 1 or 2 realistic choices for broadband. Public opinion is divided. Some argue that America has some of the fastest internet in the world in major cities. Others point to inconsistent performance and high costs compared to other developed nations. So where is this heading? By 2030, experts predict significantly higher household bandwidth demand, more smart devices, more streaming and higher resolutions, more remote collaboration tools, AI-driven applications that constantly sync data in the background. Fiber expansion is expected to grow across the United States, especially with federal funding initiatives. 5G and future wireless technologies may also serve as alternatives in some regions. Mesh Wi-Fi systems are becoming more common, helping eliminate dead zones in larger homes. But even as infrastructure improves, the complexity inside the home will increase. More devices mean more potential points of failure. So what can you actually do? If you're a student, make sure your study setup includes a stable connection. Use wired Ethernet when possible for important exams or presentations. Place your router in a central location and avoid blocking it with furniture. If you're a working professional, check both your download and upload speeds. Consider upgrading your router before upgrading your plan. If you rely on video calls daily, prioritize low latency and stable upload over raw download speed. If you're a business owner, invest in reliable equipment and possibly a business-grade connection. Downtime costs more than you think. And for everyday consumers, run a speed test directly connected to your modem with an Ethernet cable. That tells you what your provider is actually delivering. If wired speeds are fine, but Wi-Fi is slow, your issue is inside your home, not outside. Sometimes the fix isn't buying more speed. It's optimizing what you already have. At the end of the day, slow internet with a high-speed plan isn't a mystery. It's a system with multiple layers, and each layer can create friction. The speed you pay for is just one piece of the puzzle. Your hardware, your home layout, your neighbors, peak usage times, and even the apps running silently in the background all play a role. So the next time your video buffers or your game lags, don't just assume you need a bigger plan. Ask a better question. Where is the real bottleneck? Because once you understand that, you're no longer just a frustrated customer. You're in control. If this breakdown helped you see your internet differently, subscribe to Tech Vibes for more deep dives into the technology shaping everyday life in America. And drop a comment below. What speed are you paying for, and what speed are you actually getting? Let's talk about it.